I don't think it's ridiculous at all to say that this was Drake May and the Patriots' best chance to win a Super Bowl. I mean, really think about it. This team, let's be honest, they didn't have a shot, okay? And they made it to the big game, right? And they lost, and they deserved to lose. They got outclassed by Seattle in every single facet of the game. It wasn't even close. It looked like a JV team playing the varsity team. It was that bad. And Sam Darnold, I mean, what a story if you're the Seahawks and Sam Darnold. We're going to get into that in a second. I just want to talk about the Patriots. When we're talking about the Patriots, you have to really take a deep look at yourself if you're Robert Kraft, if you're Mike Vrabel, and say, you know what? We're going to need a lot more to get back here. Because I don't think it's crazy to say that this was their best shot. No Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen and the Bills fall, to a questionable call. Questionable, was it a catch? And then the Broncos had Jarrett Stidham, who quite literally threw the game for the Broncos. Also questionable play calling in that game from Sean Payton, but you get the point. Jarrett Stidham, I mean, that drifting backwards and throwing it was a backward pass fumble. They gifted the game to the Patriots, and the Patriots ended up in the Super Bowl, and they lost, and they deserved to lose. They had no business being in that game. But if you're really looking at it, you thought, oh, well, they got some nice young weapons, on the outside, and they'll continue to get better. Kayshon Boutte will get better. Douglas is, a good contributor. Kyle Williams, great player. Like, these guys are going to get better. Hunter Henry, great. But my thing is it's the O-line. I mean, I don't recall a game where Drake May look more frazzled than that Super Bowl game. He had no time. He had no clean pocket. And if you really watched and analyzed that first half, Drake May had a very obvious voice in his head where he was not going to let he wasn't going to let him fumbling be the reason they lost. And then we got to the second half where him fumbling is part of the reason they lost. The picks obviously I had a play in it too, but you could visibly see early on in that game, he was holding on to the ball tight. When there was pressure in his face earlier in the season, Drake May would try to make a play. And you could tell whoever got into his head, whether it was Vrabel, McDaniels, they told him, you cannot turn this ball over. And you could see it early on in that game. He would tuck the ball a lot earlier under pressure than he normally would. Too early. He was accepting a lot of sacks, which is one of my criticisms with Drake May early on was you need to learn to take the sack. Stop trying to make the big play when there's pressure in your face. That's how you get strip fumbled. That's how you get crushed and lose the football. And he did that in this game, but too much. He was too cautious. And then when he turned on, I got to make a play mode, Superman mode, you saw what happened. He threw bad picks. He got strip fumbled just like old times. The old tendencies creep back in. And a lot of that is Drake May's fault, but it's the O-line as well. I mean, Will Campbell, mid-season, we thought, oh, they got one. Will Campbell's arms are too short. They're too short to block real elite defensive ends in the NFL. And it's not only Will Campbell. Will Campbell is just a part of the problem. I mean, folks, he let up the most pressures in NFL playoff history this season. They are going to have to completely rebuild the O-line from start to finish. There is no question about it. They're starting from scratch. The New England Patriots are starting from scratch, and I don't think that that's a crazy thing to say. They could not protect Drake May to save their life. And you saw it. And like I said, they didn't deserve to win, but that's besides the point. I mean, the AFC is only going to get tougher. The Broncos will be back. Bo Nix will be back. You're not going to get it to run into Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos again. You're going to run into Bo Nix and the Broncos. The same Bo Nix who carved up the Bills, went toe-to-toe with Josh Allen, and sent the Bills home. Whether it was a questionable call or catch or not, that's what happened. You're not going to get to play Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos again. You're going to have to deal with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They're not going to go away. The Chargers are only getting better. Yes, I know. I'm critical of Justin Herbert. Always have been. He will get better with Mike McDaniel as his OC. They're going to get him another weapon. They're going to build that O-line back up. He'll get Rashawn Slater back. He'll get Joe Alt back. They will be fine, okay? The Bills, they have Josh Allen. So these are all teams in the AFC who I'm giving significantly higher chances to get to the Super Bowl, let alone win it. Just to get there, to make it close. I mean, the Patriots, I don't want to say that they're starting from scratch going into this next season, but they almost are. It's really close. And if you're the Seahawks, this was just an anaconda type of performance, a strangling performance. I mean, Sam Darnold came into that game knowing I can't turn the ball over. And trust me, there were some passes in the beginning of that game that were a little bit questionable where you're like, oh man, these New England Patriots cornerbacks, Gonzo, and they're sitting on routes and they're jumping them, they're undercutting them, and they got hands on ball and probably should have had a pick or two in this game, but they didn't. And Sam didn't look comfortable at first. And for a second, you think, oh wow, is this going to be one of the Sam Darnold meltdowns? Is he back? But no, he settled in. An amazing game plan and scheme from Clint Kubiak. Amazing. The Raiders are getting a stud. They're getting a stud of a head coach in Clint Kubiak. But Sam Darnold, I got to move him up a tier. I had him in the borderline QB tier, borderline elite QB tier with, Hurts and Goff. And I think he moves up one to the elite quarterbacks. Like, with Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Those are the types of guys that you're going to have to put him in conversations with. He's a Super Bowl champion. And this is a guy who was a 3rd overall pick and went to the New York Jets, who were an abomination. Went to the Panthers, lost the starting job, got it back. They gave up on him. 49ers had their own carousel going. It's hard to blame them. But the Minnesota Vikings, he gave you 14 wins, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, but it was enough for you to move off of him and put your confidence in a young quarterback who has not proven himself even on the college level. J.J. McCarthy didn't do anything on the college level that would make you scream, that's an NFL quarterback. That's an elite starting quarterback in the NFL. And the Vikings rolled the dice on him, and they got burned. And nobody's feeling more pain than the Minnesota Vikings after the Super Bowl. And I guarantee you, and it's going to change the landscape of things, the NFL is going to have to take a really, really hard look. Teams in the NFL, GMs, they're going to have to make decisions like, we don't want to end up like the Minnesota Vikings. We don't want to let the next Sam Darnold walk out our doors. We don't want to give up on him too early and let him go and win a Super Bowl in the following season for another team. Teams are not going to allow that to happen. So you're going to see quarterbacks get more time. And J.J. McCarthy is an exception. I think we've seen enough. I'm out on that, okay? But what a story for Sam Darnold. Seahawks defense, they're young. They're cheap. They're led by a leader in Mike Macdonald who is young, smart. I mean, some of these blitzes, these DB blitzes that Seattle sends are just, if you love football, I mean, you were in for a treat. Yes, I know people were saying the game was boring, this and that. If you really love football, the schemes on defense from Mike Macdonald were a treat to watch. Witherspoon flying off the line of scrimmage. Emwari flying off the line of scrimmage, flying to the quarterback, getting the sacks. That is the highest level of defensive schemes that we've seen in a while. And Mike Macdonald's not going anywhere, folks. Sam Darnold's on a cheap deal. And when they renew him, I guarantee you, Sam's not going to take a boatload of money. He's going to keep it friendly. And that's what winning quarterbacks do. They're not going to put themselves in a Joe Burrow situation where they're making all the money in the world, right? Sam Darnold knows for his legacy, it is the best decision, the best thing that he could do is to be on a team-friendly deal. And that's what Tom Brady did. And Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. So it's kind of a proven model. It's a proven thing. You know what I mean? Let them spend the money on defense. Let them spend the money on your weapons, your JSNs, your whoever. But Sam Darnold played this thing right. He came into this game knowing I can't turn the ball over. And even after a shaky start, he settled down and he said, "This is my moment. I'm not going to screw this up." And Sam Darnold, the same guy that the Jets took third overall, the same guy that they gave up on, the same guy that the Panthers gave up on, the same guy that the Minnesota Vikings gave up on after he gave them 14 wins, is a Super Bowl champion. And that just goes to show you it's never over. Just keep getting up. The story of Sam Darnold is one to remember. So, what did we learn from this Super Bowl? The Patriots have a lot of work to do, and it's no guarantee they'll be back. Seattle is going to be a problem. And Sam Darnold has arrived. He's comfortable. They're set up for the absolute most success. And I don't think it'll be crazy to see the Seattle Seahawks playing in a couple more Super Bowls. And that's how it goes. Let me know what you guys thought about the big game. I will be reading and replying to everything in the comments. It's Bring Boy Dave, and I will catch you guys on the next video.